Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 103. Yes, well done there, guys. Well done. So, yes, sorry. As I get my head back in the game, my hair's wilting. It's been that hot today. So we'll try and sort that out. But yes, episode 103 of Malt Magic, The Forgotten Kingdom of Nylin. We are one show away from our 2-year anniversary. Do not miss that next week, because of course there's things to give away. More important than anything else next week, I guess. So we'll all be having a bit of a celebration. More on that in a minute. Let's get through our usual thank yous and shout outs. As per you, actually straighten my camera as well because it's a bit skew with. There we go. Move that slightly. Cool. So, usual thank yous and shout outs to Incarnate, Owlbear Rodeo, and Dungeon Alchemist for all things virtual tabletop and mapping. I've literally just been playing around one of the maps as well. So, the map of Esamer, which I've shared with the gentleman, and will be made available to everyone post campaign 1, I think. I'm going to release all those maps just so everybody can have a look on Incarnate and maybe on Discord and those places. We have been working on the Discord server in the background. More updates on that as they come through. But of course, for all things D&D management, dungeon mastering and playering and all of these things, D&D Beyond is the godsend that it is. So a massive shout out to them. And of course, for all things character visuals wise, a huge shout out to Hero Forge. And then my final set of thank yous and shout outs go to those tools that I use in the back end just for some extra DM hints and tips, which are 5 Magic Shop, 2-Minute Tools, and Kassoon. And of course you can hear the music in the background. That is very, very much thank you to Tabletop Audio. So a massive thank you and shout out to them. We may hear some sound effects tonight, courtesy of the very fine organisation that is BattleBards. We are affiliated with the BattleBard. You hear me say it every week, but that code is perpetual. So you can use the code Malt Magic when you register, and that will get yourself a nice cheeky discount off some sound effects. Please go check out the social media links you can see there. So Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I've not posted any TikToks recently, but I will get back on that. And of course, you don't just have to join us on Twitch, although that is the only way to win some prizes. But if you want to revisit any past episodes or check out old episodes, check out some of your favourite moments. I'm going to be starting to try and get folks to do little clips of their favourite moments here and there. If anybody's got time to do that, that'd be amazing. But if you want to go check those out, then of course go check out our YouTube channel and of course the podcast, which is available on multiple different podcast platforms. So go and give that a listen. And if you can, please do give us a rating or review. Every little helps. So that's the usual shout-outs and the usual thank yous. There's obviously the few announcements that we need to make in general. So this Saturday? Yes, it is this Saturday now. Simao and I will be running the first Malt and Magic live experience. A live tabletop experience with a few new players. Obviously myself and Simao. Unfortunately, Danny and Dave can't be there that weekend. But we will be running the session as part of a charity event for the Place Bedford. So make sure you tune in all weekend for that, from Friday through Sunday. But the session specifically for Malt and Magic kicks off at 3 p.m. on the Saturday afternoon UK time. Obviously the updates will go out on our social media, but we will also be hosting the whole event right here on the Malt and Magic channel. So give that a look. There's going to be a lot of different games going in there, a lot of D&D, a lot of different tabletop. Simao and I will also pop up on a different session later on Saturday evening, which I am very nervous about, I'm not going to lie. I'm playing that one, and I think I'm going to crap my pants. So we'll see what happens. But it sounds really, really interesting. Cool, so that's the live show. Please join us for that. The other thing is next Monday, this time next week, we will be making our announcements, or probably towards the end of the show, but we will be making our announcements for the winners of the giveaway. We have those 2 pieces of art up for grabs. We also have a t-shirt, which I will be releasing pictures to our social media master tomorrow. They are very, very nice. They've got a nice brand new gold effect logo, or metallic effect logo, for our 2-year anniversary. And they also come with the player signatures on the sleeves and a nice little message on the back. So don't miss out your chance to get one of them, as well as the 2 pieces of artwork. We will all be sporting those t-shirts, hopefully, if everything turns up in time, next Monday when you see us, to celebrate 2 years of streaming Malt and Magic, which is ridiculous. So don't miss out that episode. I don't think we've quite figured out what we're going to be doing in that episode, but generally we will be having fun. So yeah, I think that's it for like announcements and shout outs. The boys will let me know if there's anything I've missed and probably call it out when we go into the main session. But for now, there will be adult language. There will most certainly be adult humour. You have been warned. Let's roll. Hello.
Hello.
How is everyone?
Back.
Good.
Hot and warm.
Good.
Warm.
Yes. Yes, the fan is still under the desk,
Yeah.
just blowing up at my face.
Chilling
And
the
keeping the
balls.
nethers, keeping the nethers nice and cool as well.
I'd also apologise to anyone listening that if there is more noise on mine, as usual, that's because the aircon behind me is also on, because it is too damn hot with all this stuff on.
It's all good. It's all good. We are in the 5th circle of hell, I think, this time, with the UK heat wave, not quite the 9th circle of hell that it was before, where we had to take a break. We are actually here. It is coming out of the other side now, or we are coming out the other side of the heat wave now, which is good. I'm hoping for some rain, maybe a thunderstorm in the next couple of days, so I can go stand outside and
Tomorrow
praise
morning,
Cord.
I believe we're going to be having thunderstorms.
Nice.
So I will be stood there doing my best Vraco impression, just... So there we go. Let's run down the lineup very quickly then. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I am Matt. I am the Dungeon Master. I also play our sidekick character of Bothrid, who is a barbarian druid and a hobgoblin, and very, very funny most of the time.
I am Danny and I play King Ander of Esamer, newly crowned, yet to be accepted by everyone, but we're getting there.
We will get there. Hello, I am Simo and I'm playing Kirak Gravetusk, our cleric fighter, who might have a very interesting session today.
I'm Dave. I play Dargon the Goliath fighter warlock, who is that happy-go-lucky kind of person who loves everyone in the circle of people that we're about to find.
In hindsight, I should have called this episode Daddy Issues. That's what I should have done.
We might get a very different
Yes.
audience for the episode, though. But yeah.
Yeah, we might get a totally different ones.
Yeah. Help me, brother. I'm stuck. That's what it'll be.
That's definitely the late night
Support
edition of
category.
Malt and Magic. Yeah. There we go. So I suppose the other thing to say is that plans for campaign 2 are well underway.
I have a
because
character.
Yeah, everybody has a character.
I have an outline of a character.
Ooh.
It may change.
Everybody has a character now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So so
Mine even
we
has
will probably take a wee break
fledgling
between campaigns.
backstory.
We'll probably take a short break between
Place your
campaigns
bets.
while we run a few other bits. I may get some people to run some one-shots and different things. We'll see what happens. But so plans for campaign 2 well underway. But we've still got this campaign to close out. And of course, last week was a milestone moment within the campaign, as Zapanir was very much brought down to ruin. After we basically went into last week into a battle and ended last week at the end of the battle. So there was a few bits around sort of the manoeuvring of folks into the air as the battle moved off the ground into the air. So somehow every member of the party, bar Bothrid, who was just sort of chilling out on the ground, ended up on Zapanir's back, just wailing on her. And eventually Zapanir just crashed down to the ground. There was a momentary banishment of the corpse and Timil's wrath, as the three then party members somehow made it down to the ground. And then after that, having everybody out of the way, Kirik stopped concentration on the banishment spell. I'm going to engage my brain at some point tonight. And Zapanir came crashing into the icy ground, which she had created in the middle of Eastvale. You saw a few familiar faces as you then prepared to leave Eastvale. There was the sexy, shadowy Feyman that we still haven't got a name for yet, I don't think, or you guys have not figured out the name for yet, and also an old crone who we had not seen in a very, very long time, as well as Aoife and all the villagers of Eastvale seemingly having survived, apart from those that were caught in the icy blast, and the rest of the folks from Mantineer who had agreed to help rebuild Eastvale, and then the sort of high priestess, if you like, of the Temple of the Everlight had agreed to help rebuild and said she would join you as and when you needed her, and her healers for the battle that is to come. Gindris also made the same promise that he would join you when the final battle was upon you, and he would offer his aid. And as you stepped through the portal to go back to Esamer, Gindris had a quiet word with Ethereal, unbeknownst to you. But this is where we start this week's episode then, having stepped back through the portal and everybody filtering back out through that shopping centre, shopping mall type place, running downstairs and just clearing the way so everybody can come through the teleportation circle. And I think as the three of you sort of run down the stairs, there's a couple of mages who just stand there and mutter to each other, I really should think about moving that. It's not really efficient. Or at least, bring it down the floor. Like it. So, Wardens, you are back home. What are we doing?
Jesus, I'm having a rest, I'm getting a cup of tea.
You can't do him.
What?
I said, what are we doing? You said Jesus. I said, you can't do him.
He's not in this pantheon. He's not available.
Absolutely not.
I love the fact that it's he not in this pantheon, meaning you'd still try, right? Even if he was.
Yeah. I'll give him.
Yeah,
I'll give him a hand
I feel like
campaign
Ander
too.
would take that as a challenge.
Yeah, you know.
Can't do it. It's like that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's like hold my
Gonna hop some
beer, you know.
universes.
Kirik could banish me to where he is. Can you pick?
You can't
Can you
pick.
pick?
No.
I cannot. But I think I do have planet travel now, so
There we go.
I might not have yet. I think it's level 8, but I need shooting folks and shit like that. Anyway,
There we go.
I think
Good
that
stuff. So-
that conversation probably embodies exactly how the inner thoughts of all of our characters feel after we got back in, like just white noise.
Yeah.
Like, what just happened?
The first thing I'm going to do actually is go find Mirabelle because I'm betrothed.
You
know who you are. We're just going to leave it at that. So, yes, sorry.
For the best giggles, everyone, twitch.tv/Malt Magic so that you can find out what on earth just happened.
You don't get the comedic genius of the chat on YouTube, mate, or on the podcast.
But well played. That properly put me off.
So
Amazing.
it's
So,
technically
sorry,
blasphemy.
Ander.
That's all right.
It's fine. It's
That's
fine.
right.
Adult language and adult.
Yeah, we did say adult language, adult humour. That accounts for the chat as well. Anyway, Ander, getting this story back on track and getting this session going tonight, you head straight back to the keep and your throne room to go and find Mirabelle and Annabelle. And you find both of them amongst a few others in the throne room, sort of looking at this makeshift war room table. And as you sort of enter through the door, Mirabelle, there is just a great sigh of relief, and she is going to turn on her heels from the table, run straight at you, and launch herself into your arms.
I'm that weak, it'll probably... Well, not weak, I'm not knackered, it might not be able to be honest.
I will say it does sort of bring you sort of stumble backwards, and both of you sort of go down to your knees, where she's just going to sort of hold you, or hold your head in her hands and look deep into your eyes, and then that voice in your head as she telepathically speaks. Oh, thank fuck for that.
Saucy minx. I won't tell you what she says.
Well, she can't speak, can she? She's on mute.
Yeah, but what she said in my head was not PG-13, dirty bugger.
Can I turn to
you?
What I will seriously say, I made you a promise. I told you I'd be back.
You did, and I'm glad. Well, I suppose you were successful then. Is she gone?
For now. We have been told we have to find this vestibule or whatever it is that is holding her soul and destroy it to prevent her coming back again. But for now, she's not to worry.
Okay. That's one player off the board, I guess. Anyway, come on, stand, you've got work to do, more work to do.
No rest for the king then, I suppose. Oh.
Unfortunately not. Maybe later.
She doesn't mean resting, does she? Hell no.
Anyway. Dargon and Kirik, as you see sort of Ander get flopped to the floor by his beloved.
I was going to say, while we're following Ander back, if we're following Ander, i.e. behind, I would just like to turn to Kirik and just say, so where is he?
He's at the temple. He's at the temple of the Raven Queen, but I feel as though we should
to attend to.
That we should all rest before we tend to it. He's also quite weak today. He will be for a while.
Yeah. No, it was, checking. We weren't going to expect to walk in on him in the throne room, you know what I mean. As long as he's in there, that's good. I need some rest.
Yeah. Just as you know, just to prepare myself for what I'm going to see. What does he look? Does he look like a corpse, or does he look like he used to when he was alive?
Not quite as he used to when he, well, at least not as far as when I met him. He looks a little bit, I suppose, we've seen other Eladrins and they all look different from him. But he looks a little bit more like the others.
Oh, good. So he looks more like he did when I was a child. That's not going to drag up anything emotionally for me, so that's good. I'm glad we've established that. Thanks. What is the time of day now we're back? Now there's not an artificial winter.
So, the air is a lot warmer here now. It's still dark with the cloud overhead, but you reckon it's probably, given how long you're away in the battle, probably looking around midday to early afternoon. And you all haven't really rested properly in a couple of days. So I'm going to say you've all got 1 point of exhaustion. It's going to be a moot point because I think we're going to long rest at some point, but point of exhaustion.
Nah, still a good idea. I'd carry on with...
Apart from you... In fact, no, Kirik will have a point of exhaustion because he was in the middle of the fucking death realm.
Yeah. Kirik, I am grateful to see you in the fight, though. Glad to see you and everyone else. We couldn't have done that without you.
Just glad we all made it out alive. Wasn't sure that was going to happen.
Yeah, I realised I had a bit of tunnel vision during the fight. I just wanted to kill her. I did try to protect you, but I realised I could have helped you sooner. Will you forgive
Right,
this
we live and learn.
battle-hardened man who wanted to hit? I forgot my troops, and I wanted to apologise to you.
No need to worry. We all made it, so that's what matters.
Yeah. Listen, there's not someone here who can... This is your area. But your mind in this party is one of the most valuable that we can possibly have. I'm sure you protect it well, but... Is there any additional protection we can gain from anyone?
Well, I suppose Ethereal would be the person to talk to about that. There's some things I can do, but I don't know if... Well, Ethereal at least could recognize the amount, the type of protection that is already here. I can deduct some stuff, but if there's any sort of protection, an extra protection that we could put, at least against certain creatures, I guess that would be important. If we could protect this, if we could prevent fiends from walking in, for starters, would be a...
So do you mean above? Because nobody can enter here without my permission.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you're right. I wasn't particularly thinking about here. I was thinking about protecting you, but specifically your mind.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can only smack stuff. I can't. We're out and about and
protecting ourselves, not this place, right? I'm with you.
Yeah, but you only need to protect this old dried up nut. It's just yours I was thinking about. Maybe
yeah, there's things we can do. Yeah, but
maybe it's just me wanting to pass my misgivings on to the fact that we haven't got stuff. So yeah,
there is a thing that I want to start thought about where that.
You'll have to try that again.
I was going to say that was really bad lag there.
Am I back? What's happening?
You are back.
We all are.
Who knows? Right, I'll start again. One thing I really want to establish is that whilst we've been rallying the troops and gaining allies, I've been making promises or making deals. So, for example, I will owe Ethereal something for the fealty of his wizards. I owe the King of the Fae something for him helping with rations and helping with the fight. But I don't actually know what I've promised. All I've said is, yes, I'll make a deal with you. So it might be worth trying to establish what we will actually be giving up for their allegiance, or for them to become allies, to obviously weigh up whether that is worth it. I'm assuming it will be, because we're going up against a god, for God's sake, so I'm willing to pay quite a price. I just don't want it to then jeopardise any future piece of Nyland, if there's going to be infighting afterwards.
Annabelle is going to chime up at this point, sorry, Dargon, and Annabelle's going to look at you and then say, it sounds to me like it's time for the king to call his court.
Ooh.
Dargon, sorry I interrupted you.
I was going to say, you need to find that out tomorrow. Because if you're getting help and giving away your entire land, you ain't much of a king afterwards.
I mean, Esamer is obviously up for no not for negotiations, but I'm thinking, my guess is, Ethereal will want to govern himself in Idril. And I think the King of the Fae will want the same, but then he'll probably want something in terms of trade routes, free passage through River's End, etc. Because obviously they had a bit of beef. So I think it's going to be like trade deals and their power to govern themselves, which I'm happy to do. Because I've already thought that we'll have wardens across Nyland that will govern their areas, who then form my court, if you know what I mean. So we'll have like Lena on there, Ethereal on there, etc., etc. So I'm hoping it's what I already had planned in my head, and they can govern themselves, but I'm hoping it's not going to be something ridiculous. Like the King of the Fae says, can I have the blood of your firstborn of every child for the next 3 generations or something stupid like that?
Better to know that sooner rather than later.
Well,
By sooner, I mean tomorrow morning, not now.
Yeah.
I know it's only...
You can tell I'm tired because I'm rambling.
I know it's only the afternoon, so I suggest we probably sit down, rest, chat about nothing, and then get some sleep.
Annabella's going to turn to you once more, Ander. I can have the keep prepared if you wish to hold court tomorrow and make
yes, please.
these agreements.
Thank you. That'd be wonderful.
Would you be able to also negotiate messages to the appropriate envoys?
Of course. We'll well, Bothrid, you can help, can't you? We'll all make sure the message is around that King will hold court tomorrow, and those who have business with Esamer and Nylin must present themselves. I think this will also do you well, Ander, in terms of cementing your claim.
Yes. Do you think it's worth bringing him tomorrow, Kirik? Just so... What?
Him?
The thinking is, I want everybody tomorrow to go into it eyes open, and that includes any allies we've made along the way or deals we've made with past enemies.
Sure. We can bring him through. Do you want me to make sure that no one can really lie in the court?
Oh, I don't know. Can you exclude me from that? Because Zone of Truth has a horrible effect on me, as we know.
I think I can.
No, let's be open and transparent, good and bad. Gets it all out on the table, doesn't it? Yeah, that might come back to haunt me, but that is a good shout. But just don't blame me when I call Ethereal a twat or drop a C-bomb on him or something, because he is, you know what he's like.
At this point, can I wander back outside? And I would like to summon Azazel.
Okay. So you step outside.
I've got a little job for you. If you could see that building over there, and I point at the temple, can you go and perch on the top? And if you see anyone go in or out, come find me. You can do that.
Azazel gently sort of pecks at your ear and then launches off. A few great big flaps of the grey owl wings, and she is off. And you see her just sort of fly and then alight at the top of the temple, on top of the head of the great raven that sort of adorns the top of it. And just sort of sits there. And the head just slowly begins to sort of turn, almost like a lighthouse.
I'll then pull out a cigar, light it, sit down,
Hey, you just wanted to use your prop.
Yeah, and then we'll just sit and well, if there's anywhere near the gate, near the steps, or actually just on the steps, we'll just sit down and just.
I mean, there's two great sets of stairs that curve down from this keep, so you just sit and sort of smoke.
Either that, or if there's like a rail or something, to it, just lean over.
It's not a designated smoking area. No. There's a little
Bothrid is going to come out.
Try and fucking stop me.
And he's going to look at you, Dargon. And as Bothrid just sort of sits and goes, push that at you.
What?
Yeah.
Bothrid's just going to go.
Half the cigar's gone.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, just what I thought. Just what I thought.
You want one?
Bought it. No. Is it one enemy down then?
For now? Yeah. Well, I'll take our winnings, I suppose.
I do.
That is something we need to add to the
Yeah.
agenda, actually, as I come out to join you. We need to decide as and when we find that vestigial to destroy Zapanir once and for all.
I think, I could be wrong, but it took a while to come back. I would say, if we're all around later, then we go on a little trip for it. In the meantime, maybe if we can ask a few people to go searching. But, yeah, for
that
now.
brings me to my point, which was, do you think we're all going to make it?
Ask me that when
Well,
we've made it.
It's a good plan. Good plan.
Yeah.
How many times have we died before and we're still here?
I haven't.
Once.
Well, no, I've been I don't think I've died.
All right, show off. How many times have we died before and we've
We
still
did
been
bring
here?
you back
Minus you.
recently, Bothrid, actually. You may not remember that, actually.
Oh, yeah, no, well, I do remember. I went to a big, well, it was very lush. Like my garden.
So I'm trying to say, not even death can stop us.
Well,
Not to
she's on
mention,
our side.
Dargon has two
She is
gods
on our side,
on his
right,
side. Kirik has the god of the Queen of Death on his side, so I think we've got pretty good odds.
Yeah, just remember there, Ander, when it is your time, what they do is welcome you. They don't send you back. Just remember that. So don't push your luck.
As long as she looks after me and doesn't put me in with any of my ex-wives, I think we'll be okay.
They have to behave then.
Oh, that's a very... Right.
Oh,
Don't mention anything
well,
about marriage in the Zone of Truth tomorrow, because I haven't told Mirabelle about my ex-wives yet.
well, Kirik, that is awfully assumptuous that, his wives weren't good, and therefore they're in a bad place.
Also, I've made the assumption they're all dead. They might not be. Although they wish it upon me, I'm sure.
We're all being very assumptionary thingy at the moment.
I don't know about you guys. I've got inside information, so
Show off.
that was a joke.
I thought you was like, yeah, I've placed them just in the second... That's the second gate for you. They're waiting with open arms.
Yeah, you do know, Kirik, we don't know, and therefore we have to take your your information on death.
Yeah.
That infernal water pool is not very fun. Before we do have that big chat with everyone else, what are we going to ask them? Obviously, I know you're going to ask them about, your trade routes and how many apples to pears and stuff, but...
I think the things I want to find out is, well, like you just said, what does the King of the Fae want from me in return for acceptance of my, I suppose, reign, and
Fealty.
in return for helping us with Esamer? What does Ethereal want? we're going to want Lena there because she's already agreed to take on the Twin Cities for us. We need to discuss what we do about Deluin.
So Deluin, yes, that's possibly our next port of call, isn't it?
We need to discuss whether we go to the pork place. It's gone out of the brain. Let me get it.
Incubus.
Incubus.
It's Oddberg, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Fuck, I can't remember what it's called. Eticus.
Oh, I was close.
Oedipus. No.
Eticus.
What am I
Atticus
thinking
Finch.
of? Oddberg.
Oddberg may be the one next to Eticus.
Yeah. Orcs. Oddberg.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yeah. So we need to determine whether we're going to get them on the team or not, or we're just happy to leave them doing what they do. I also thought, with Theo being there, we need to try and get some intel out of him on any weaknesses of Asmodeus, even if it's just any vanities we can exploit, or any ways into the Black City, as well as, I don't know whether we've discussed this, Kirik, did you ask him about the firepower of the source and how where it might have come, how we can obtain it?
I haven't asked that yet. Just giving
So that could be something we tried. But then again, do we want that knowledge out in the room? Do we fully trust who's going to be in that room? Mainly thinking of Ethereal and the Fae. Both tricky buggers.
That's a discussion we have afterwards.
Yeah. With it being Zone of Truth, is he going to blurt that out anyway?
Kirik, how many people know he's back?
How many people do know that he's back? Not a lot.
Just us four, isn't it? Us four and the Raven Queen.
And anybody that's currently listening in.
That's true.
And hopefully, now that obviously the Raven Queen, that's the only temple we've got. Some people might have gone there to pray.
Can you lock the gate?
I did lock the door.
Okay.
Uh,
To be fair though, they probably won't recognise him in this current state.
Well, that was my other question. How many people would recognise him? And do we want an unknown coming into a private discussion with, the King of the Fae? He's not going to want a random oik there that he doesn't know who it is. And if they then find out who it is, we're in trouble until we actually...
Oh, that's a point.
Right,
so... Don't the King of the Fae have beef with the Eladrin? Aren't they related somehow?
I mean, they may well have done. So I would actually say he needs to stay in there until afterwards.
Yeah, okay, good call.
Yeah.
And then, do you have... I think I've resolved my business with him. You're obviously still quite angry at him. Do you have unresolved business that you need to talk to him about, Dargon? God, that was a good probing question, wasn't it?
It was.
That was a good journo question. Digging for answers. There's only truth on Kirik.
Could I ask Danny to roll a persuasion check?
Oh,
can.
Okay.
I'm going to roll an
Do I have to
insight
say by
on
order of the
whatever
king?
Dargon says,
Make you do it.
No, but I mean...
Okay, so there's going to be a persuasion check, an insight check, and yeah.
So what's my what do I have to roll an opposing persuasion check? I'm finding out if my friend asking me if I'm going to tell him.
I rolled a 23.
Okay, so first things first, persuasion check. So I'm going to ask you, Dargon, to roll me a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw. Okay, yeah, okay. So that's 14.
14. So you are persuaded. I think Kirik's still going to roll an insight check anyway. I will, based on all of that information, this is now down to you to decide how much you want to disclose, how much is honest, how much is a lie, and then Kirik will insight the shit out of that and probably discover what's a lie anyway.
Okay, do you want a persuasion/deception check now?
What
for what Kirik?
Say what you're going to say, and then roll your persuasion or deception. Don't tell us what it is, and then Kirik, you can roll your insight straight away if you want. that was a strange triumvirate of fucking rolls and shit going on.
No, but I mean, I was
Yeah.
like, how do I make the decision? Yeah, all right. All right, Ander. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of weirded out that you're taking it so well. You have heard about my family, or lack thereof. I think I have let it slip a few times. So, they were lost in my village. There was a temple there, and we were the protectors of it. Didn't really know what it was. I now know it was a temple to the Everlight. I didn't know that back then. Just kind of got into the history and the realms, and it was just one of those ones we were looking after. So we were asked one day by one of the villagers who lived at the bottom of the mountains. He came up and he was beaten to shit. He came into the into my house. I was the chief. Came into the house, and I've had some dealings with him before. And he said they'd been taken upon by bandits, and would we help? He was half dead at this point. We got some wine, we got some bread to him, and tried to wheel him up as best we could. We were happy to help, so I took 15 of my men. We went down. When we got down there, we found that the village was fine. There was nothing wrong. There were a couple of hay bales on the outskirts that had been set on fire. People are trying to sort them out. So it looked like it was in trouble. When we got down there, everything was fine. The moment I saw it was just some hay bales, I knew that we'd been trapped. So we go running back up the mountain. It's a few hours to run back up as well. When we get back up, all of our little sentries were gone. Little caves in the side of this like valley at the top of this mountain. Kind of a U shape where our village was then inside. As you run up there, you've got these little alcoves. No one could see them because we were pretty good at hiding ourselves. But yeah, none of them were there. And by the time I got up to our village, it was a bloody bloodbath. There was all manner of kobolds and other horrendous creatures just ripping through. Far overwhelmed what we'd left. I will point out, and I will say, our women and our children can fight fucking well. We wouldn't have helped if our 15 of our best fighters were there, to be honest. But I can still see that we were tricked. It made it easier on them. My wife and my daughter were in the temple. We knew there was stuff in there that needed to be guarded. It was left in our protection even if we didn't know what it was. And they were making a last stand there. They'd taken God knows how many of them out. When I saw their bodies and everything was a daze, I walked outside of the temple on this crest above our village. Was a lone figure. An outline against the dark black sky. Something darker. but with 2 red eyes. By the time I looked back at him, he was gone. To say he, don't even know who it was. I would point out that what had been left over, the few stragglers of their forces we had wiped out along the way, there was about 4 of us left by the time of it. I was completely battered to shit, and so were the rest of them. But I no longer had a village, nor did I have the ability to lead. I'd lost that right when I failed them. We buried everyone, and I left. And I was never going back there again. As it happens, and our little merry band outside that pub, we were banded together a few months later, and I was a sellsword, ready for a worthy end. I don't... There's a tradition with Goliaths. When you get old, or when you have been injured far past being able to be helpful, and I'm not just talking about fighting, by the way, we all have our own little reasons for sticking around. I was not bad at building. But in a clan, above your village, you go up when you're no longer able, and you go up. You create like a cairn, and you sit on it. You take all your clothes off, and you stand there, and you wait for the environment to take you, and you die up there. And it is one of the worthiest things that you can do as a Goliath, because you're still there forevermore, protecting and guarding your village. I wasn't worthy of that, so I find myself as a sellsword, and I find myself just looking for that final fight. Dagon stands up at his full height now, arms open, cigar in his mouth. He's like, well, look where it brought me. Never expected it. I happen to think this is my second chance. I definitely didn't feel like I deserved it when I met you all. Maybe I've thought about that different now. But if there's one thing that I connect to now, that one thing that is disconnected, unresolved, and I need to fucking well resort, the man with the red eyes needs to die.
So, 2 things. Thank you for telling me that, and I think we can all say you have proved yourself worthy more times than I can count. So don't ever say that. Secondly, when you said I've took it so well, in the spirit of honesty, I haven't took it well at all. I'm just a better actor than you are. It's dredging up some things, and I think seeing him in his vulnerable state, it'll either make me feel better or worse. I'm not quite sure yet. So, did your family die just before you met us, like months before?
Yeah.
Or had you been a... Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking, depending on how long ago it was, I could help patch up the timeline, whether he was still with me or not, with it being only months before we met. It could well be him.
That is right, DM, is it not? I do believe.
Months before, yes.
Yeah. So I was very much there as a, as a sellsword at the start. And a broken one.
Not that I am defending him, but do you think Asmodeus could have more than one? Like, could he patron more than one person. So then he's got an army of red-eyed minions.
Dargon
Which is something
leans
it's a
back
question to ask,
down
actually.
on the sort of the balcony, the balustrade. You know, this just looks out for a minute. You know, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. Can I tell you that I can guarantee that outline was his? I mean, I feel like I'd swear by it. But you've put doubt in my head for the first time. I don't know.
Well, let's get you that clarity and hopefully closure tomorrow. Let me speak to him.
Closure? Well, we'll see about that.
The road to closure. If you want, after he's finished doing the bidding for the Raven Queen, we can stab him through the heart together.
Dargon holds out one of his massive hands to you. It's like, yeah.
I'll put both my hands in it to try and cover the whole hand.
Like
Do
a
you
parent
need...
holding their child's hands?
I was going to say, do you need a... Garrett, do you need a check?
If that was a lie, mate, I'm sold because that was amazing. If imagine if Kirik sat there now and went, liar!
that was 25. So.
25. So Dargon, you can roll me either persuasion.
I am an
or
open
deception.
book of truth to Kirik.
There we go.
With a 4. I mean, to be honest,
So
I
then
can't
the
go
question
anywhere
begs,
near that.
based on that insight check, were there any bits where there was half-truth, mistruth, blatant lie?
You feel that probably the most of it is the fact that he was trying to keep a story brief. And that that's about it. You know, you see that, you know, he didn't talk like, you know, a verbatim report, but it was basically a Prayseed cut down version of it. Other than that, no real lies in it to per se. And maybe you saw more conviction in the fact that I was willing to consider that it might not be him. Because there was probably a bit of surprise and possibly realisation on my face at that point. I don't know.
Okay.
In the I suppose that all brings us back to, I think I understand that we all mean possibly not to have him in the main discussion.
Yeah. Thinking about it, I'm just thinking, right, you're probably not going to be able to sleep without talking to him. Did you want to talk to him first? Because it might give us information or might steer our thinking in then what we talk about tomorrow when we hold court. Because if he tells us, for example, Asmodeus has loads of warlock minions, that's obviously more of a worry than just we thought we'd got rid of his main guy, which then might help get. And then if he tells us, gives you some truth and gives us some intel on Asmodeus, we can then relay that tomorrow with everyone else. So it might be worth talking to him now.
Well, you have a point. DM, could we consider what we've just had as a short rest? Can we bump ourselves up a bit? Could we wait? Could we wait that long now, possibly as an hour, and then
I'd say
Maybe a bit
you all
of...
just sit, have this conversation on the steps for an hour, and sort of generally chill out. A little bit of food shared amongst you.
I shall definitely take a short rest.
Okay.
And then, yes, in answer to Anders' question, yeah, I say rest here for a little bit, and then maybe we do get some more information before we talk to him. What say you, Kirik? Will he be receptacle?
Receptacle. Does he look like
Got
a
it,
rhino?
Well,
Look,
Deadpool.
I've got to
There's
throw a
the
couple
stupid.
Got to throw a couple of stupid words in.
Apparently, Bothrid got absolutely rammed last week, and that's only just updated.
I think I'd rather give him a little bit of a break. He was gone for a while. His mind is going to take a minute to come back and be close to what it was. So if we want to start asking him questions, I think we need to give him a little bit to recover. And plus, he has a couple of things to learn before he's allowed outside.
Well, our master dictates.
Is it worth then if I tell Annabelle that we'll hold court later in the day, like at lunchtime, to give us a chance to speak to him in the morning then, beforehand?
Yeah, sounds good. Good idea. Perhaps this afternoon, maybe you just get reports of how Esamer is going on. I'm sure that'll buy the time for us to then sleep.
Cool. Well, they seem to have been quite self-sufficient while I've been gone. So while I'm speaking to Annabelle, we could get the lowdown of what's been happening.
Yeah, do that.
So are we heading inside, or are we having a wander?
Yeah. Well, Annabelle said she was going to get the keep ready, so I suppose if we head that way, she might be there to give us the lowdown.
Okay. I'll follow your lead as always, I guess.
I think we shall pass the time until long rest then.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that off camera if there's actually no real intel to spill, other than, we've just been rebuilding and got everyone some potatoes.
We'll make it brief. I think you go inside and sort of get a situation report. And as I said to you last time, there was a significant amount of efforts already started to go in to rebuild Esamer. There's sort of scaffolding gone up. And you sort of get reports that some of the major buildings are being repaired or rebuilt, or just patched up in whatever way they can. You get a report that based on the current population within Esamer, that rations will last about a month maximum. But the bridge really could do with being rebuilt, is the one thing that sort of reaches your ears. At the minute, you're cut off from the mainland. The only way to get in or out is via teleportation, which leaves you in debt to the mages, and you could do with a way in and out.
Looking at my Battlemaster, is rebuilding the bridge at this time A, worth the resources, and B, will it give us a disadvantage? I think the fact that we can only get in by magical means is a positive in terms of defending ourselves, but if this goes on any longer and we need And they need to go back and forth for food. Just say for the mages are in battle, the people we leave behind in Esamer are going to need to be self-sufficient. What do you think?
How long is the bridge meant to be?
The bridge stretches from
guess.
here to the edge of the lake, so the shoreline. So it's going to be a good.
Is there like any foundations left?
Yeah, so you could see when you were sort of floating around underneath, you could see this end of the bridge, or the bridge that's connected to Esamer itself, and sort of just juts out over the cliff edge, if you like. That heads down towards the lake then. Rough guess. You reckon it's probably maybe half a mile long, the bridge? Needs to be half a mile long.
So, I would say anyone who is not so much a fighter that they are going to make a massive sway in the difference, and even possibly those who might in a big battle, can probably set to getting a bridge going. As you say, reliance on magical means is going to mean that we could end up up the skivvy. So they certainly could start it now, no harm in it. And two possibilities: one, it ain't going to get finished straight away; two, we could leave it short; and three, we could blow it up. So I would say no time like the present, and they can certainly get started on it. A bridge that long is going to take a while. Probably quite a while. So I say start now. It will be that it's only if someone is abled, but not a prize fighter. I'm sure they can work that out. It's going to be on the other rail, on the other side of protection. So to be honest, it's going to be in danger, technically. But yeah, a half-mile long bridge. If it comes up to 100 feet away, or say 150 feet away, yeah, to be honest, that's still safe in my eyes, because we have them at a disadvantage if anyone was going to use it, because they'd bottleneck themselves. So, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I will tell them to start the bridges. Start the bridge.
Good question. Can we even open the doors?
To get out to the
So
bridge?
what?
Yeah.
Sorry, was that a question for me or in character there?
It's kind of both. Like, how, in character, has anyone checked, can we get out the doors? I suppose if we've got people around, as in you're getting this information, Ander, then it's probably to anyone who is there,
Here's a thought. We're going to rebuild the bridge, so you've got your wish. How are we going to build it? Where are we going to get all the rock from? All the stone? There'll be a temporary wooden bridge.
You're muted, somehow.
You're muted, Kirik.
How many times can Samal cast mending till the bridge is fixed?
Are we on about his mic or the bridge?
Prestidigitation,
Thaumaturgy, just...
Yeah, one dust particle at a time.
Still can't hear you, sir.
It's very peculiar.
Oh, dear.
We shall continue on with that, but I'm sure that...
He agrees with us.
No, not that.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do while we're waiting for sort of Samal to deal with some technical issues. I think that's probably a good place for us to take a brief pause, as you're all going to take a long rest now anyway, and sort of retreat inside and go and have some sleep. And for the first time, Ander, Mirabelle will join you. She's quite adamant nothing will happen, but she will join
Hang
you.
on there. Can we at least spoon?
Of course.
I'll be little spoon, so not to poke her in the back.
Okay. So you two settle down for the evening. Bothrid finds a room, which Annabelle's prepared for him, and the Kirik and Dargon, you're both presented with rooms, which have been made up to some extent. Beds repaired and some soft furnishings, simple furniture in there, and your long rest. And so we will take a short break, at which point, hopefully when we return, all technical issues will be resolved, and we will then go from there. But until then, stick around and we'll see where the court of the king goes. Hello! So, we are back.
That is not
We're
Smel's
still
real
having-
face, he's frozen.
No, he is just sort of trying to fix a few issues in the background there, having
Yes.
some microphone issues for whatever reason. We have been trying to figure out for 10 minutes, but we didn't want to leave you waiting too long. So we are going to rejig the running order of what we had planned, just because we can't do certain things without Kirik there. So we've long rested. Everybody will have long rested and sort of slept. And
You
as
shall
you
press
wake,
that said button.
there is a proper breakfast for the first time in a long time now. A proper breakfast that is presented
Bothrid
to you
special.
at the back of the throne room that Bothrid has been involved in and has been overseeing actually in the morning, with the rations available and the few people that are around. And as that then sort of comes to a close, and your royal entourage, so to speak, the ones that are closest to you, finish up and sort of tidy up, Annabelle comes to you and I appreciate you had other plans this morning, but word went out rather quickly and people are already outside waiting to converse with the king.
Oh, okay. I'll scrabble, shove food in my face, scrabble around, go get my crown.
And
Look lively,
over the
fellas.
next 15-20 minutes, Annabelle and Mirabelle are just faffing around with you, sort of straightening up your hair and making you look as regal as possible. Your armour actually, while you've been asleep, at some point Mirabelle snuck out and took it away to go get it polished, and it's there in the morning, and it's the best your leather armour's looked in a long time. Your cloak's been properly cleaned and brushed down. Your weapons, apart from the moonblade, which does not leave your side, have all been cleaned and sharpened accordingly. And you, for the first time, look like the proper king that you now are supposed to be, not just like a rogue with a crown on his head. There is a regal nature about how you are dressed now, and even both Annabelle and Mirabelle take a step back, and both of them just stand there and go, fuck. One in your brain, one out loud.
Scrub up pretty good, eh? It's amazing what an actual wash can do.
Yes, you were apparently overdue a bath. Seriously, Ander,
Which
this
is the real
is...
reason you snuck out of my room last night, because I smelled, probably.
And Mirabelle will just sort of, in your brain, I never sneak out for nefarious purposes. Just the honest ones. Your arm needed cleaning. Just be glad I came back. And there's a little wink as she sort of says that into your mind. And Annabelle then goes and sort of says, well, my lord. And she does a curtsy. Let's seat you on your throne.
It's going to take some getting used to this. All this courtesy. Respect. Is
I
the
can
rest of
stop
the
if
gang
you want.
looking lively and ready to go?
Yeah, all of their arm. I mean, Dargon's armor was already radiant anyway, but everybody's armaments and weapons and generally everybody is scrubbed up. Bothrid has sort of had a bath and sort of scraped his hair back under the recommendation of someone, and it looks weird. It's kind of like Hagrid when he brushes up for the Yule ball, right?
Yeah.
It's weird, but he has got like a little flower, and there is
He hasn't got broken coat teeth in his
new-
hair or anything.
Why is he turning into Mr.
there's a
Bean
new
for us now?
there's a new marking on his sort of chest armor, which is the symbol of Melora, which has sort of been embroidered into it, and you can see him just sort of sat rubbing it a little bit, and Annabelle slaps his hand and said, "Don't play with it, it'll fall off."
That's what she said.
Annabelle then sort of all lines you all up and says, "Right, I will lead. Bothrid, if you follow, and Kirik, Dargon as battle master, I'm assuming. And Mirabelle, you need to walk arm in arm, I'm assuming. Remley and the dwarf come sort of walking out of the side. Aye. If you can protect the king's rear, we would be on it."
Well, I've been looking after his backside this long. Might as well continue now.
Glad you've
If
learned
that's
all
all right
of
with you, my
the high
lord.
courtesies that you need for this sort of situation, Remley. Appreciate your decorum.
Aye. Well, Gindris left instruction.
And you can see for the first time that Gindris, Remley has a silver chain around his neck, and hanging from the silver chain is two symbols. One of a hammer of sorts, and the other one of a silver dragon behind it on a disc.
Nice.
Nice.
Are we all ready then?
Can I just check, just so I'm ready for it, so I'm not shocked? Do I get one of those as I walk in?
We've tried to do something, but yes.
Oh God. Okay. Is it going to be dry ice?
As the DM sneezes.
I hope it's bagpipes.
There we go. Excuse me. Sorry about that one. Cool. So, Annabelle then goes, "Right, well then, follow me." And she begins just a slow walk forward. And she sort of is wearing this long purplish dress with a simple sort of tabard over the front of it. And she puts her hands in her sleeves and just walks forward. And as you all sort of walk around now and step foot into the throne room, there is a small and subtle fanfare, and you see that there's some bards from somewhere that have been drummed up, and sort of, there's just this and Annabelle's just sort of going to sort of wince slightly, but continues walking through. And funnily enough, you see a small goblin stood next to the throne, and he shouts up,
May I present to you King Ander of Esamer and his loyal subjects. Long live the king!
and then he looks, and Annabelle's there like,
Too far.
But bow to your king.
you walk in, and there's some sort of
Fucking
people
jumps.
sort of curtsying and half awkward bows, and Annabelle leads you around and sort of, just sit down. You'll be fine. We'll work on this, obviously.
Yeah.
Annabelle then continues on round, and sort of the party are seated at various points in front of you. Dargon, Kirik, and Bothrid are seated sort of almost in front of you in a small semicircle, and then you yourself are seated on the throne, and there is a smaller chair that is the best they could find, but not quite a throne yet, where Mirabelle seats herself. But before she does, she turns and curtsies to you, and then seats herself down. Annabelle will then stand up next to the throne. Whoever so seeks business with the king, present yourselves now. And then Remley's going to come sort of shuffling up.
Aye, we've got a fucking list. First up, Prime Arcanum Ethereal of the Crystalline Circle of Idril. Make yourself known and your business.
Is everybody in the room at this point, or are they getting called in?
Yep.
Like a deli counter?
There
Okay,
is
they're in the room.
an audience of people, villagers, various different individuals. An ethereal stands and sort of and nudges Deimos as well. Deimos sort of stands and they both approach. And you can just
to try
about
and break
hear in the
ice, I kind of want to address the room and go, I think it's safe to say those formalities were awkward for all of us, but I hope we can move past that and get to the brass tacks of what we're here to do. I want to be an approachable king who's in with the people, so I might do away with those sort of formalities because I'm not really comfortable with that. I'll just walk in next time, I think. No offence to the trumpet player, I'm sure you practiced, but I'm a lute kind of guy.
And you can see this bard is in the corner, is just there like, and just goes bright red and flushes. Annabelle will sort of lean in and whisper, a fine sentiment, but I think for now, while your claim is being cemented, let's stick to some formality at least.
Okay.
Don't worry, we've got this. You're going to be fine. Ethereal and Deimos walk up, and both of them sort of just a slight nod of the head and bow. And at which point, Remley's going to sort of look down from the scroll and...
No. I think you can do better than that. As a king, after all. You're not greeting your fucking uncle.
And you can see a flash of sort of anger that briefly passes over Ethereal's face. But then Deimos is just going to elbow him. Fucking play nice, you can. And Ethereal's just going to be like, fine. And does a more fitting bow.
Aye, that's
I
better.
appreciate that, Ethereal. I know that was hard for you, given where I was when we first met to where I am now. But I think it's safe to say Remley has taken his job very seriously. I admire your work ethic. Now, what did you want to talk to me about? Just because I also have questions for you.
Before we begin,
Well-
Ethereal, thank you again for your very kind and generous assistance in getting all those people there. We couldn't have done it without you.
No, you could not have. Not without me and my mages, and I will, of course, expect some recompense.
Kirik, is there anything you'd like to say at this point?
No, I'll mostly be looking at people and seeing what the general mood is.
Okay.
Are you still casting Zone of Truth?
I will be, yes. Now I will just take 10 minutes to choose my spells now. So,
Samara's going to be quiet for the next 10 minutes as well, folks, just so we know that. But now it's for legitimate purposes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So we will say
but I will be
that...
casting
yeah, so we'll say that does get cast.
Well, Kirik, do you want to say that you're doing that? Does Ander, do you want to say that that's happening?
Yeah. I will let people know that is what's happening.
Okay, so just let me know when you're ready. So Prime Arcanum, hopefully you've been cemented in your position now. amongst Idril, as I have been cemented in mine. You did speak of, in exchange for your help and your allyship against Asmodeus, you would expect recompense. What are the terms of your deal?
The College of Idril has long been one that has studied the arcane forces. Esamer is host to a column of raw magical power. I would like that. I would like to take it.
What the fuck is he on about? What column of magical power? The one that protects the city, do you mean?
No. To the northwest of this city, there is a stone exposed. It is a pure form of one of the most magical substances in this kingdom.
Oh, the rough strike.
I assume that's not meant to be in the middle of the street at the moment.
It's, well, it has been exposed for whatever reason, but I would not expect Esamer to have been built with such a gaping hole in the street, no.
Oh, so it was meant to be not submerged, underneath the ground.
I cannot say,
So,
but it presents
supposed to have-
power.
2 follow-up questions. So, with the raft strike, I'm assuming it's a big block of raft strike, isn't it? That's the one he means.
The impure form is known as Wrathstrike, yes.
Okay.
We
so, 2
refer to
questions.
this as a mana stone.
Out of interest,
Is this mana stone... Go on.
Well, I may be asking the same question as our good king here, but is that stone powering our city at present?
That was my question, yeah. Is it powering the rooms on the wall?
And also, do we envisage it being the only one? First of all, I would recommend that a few people that we pull away for building the bridge, also for the temporary meantime, also get some gravel, soil, and anything else, and actually cover it back up. From the understanding of what it did to you, and it shouldn't be around for anyone to touch.
So you can see Ethereal sort of mulls over his response for a time.
I cannot be certain that it does not power the great magic that guards these walls. So I will add a condition to this recompense. When the battle is over and Nylin is safe, you will allow us to mine this stone and take it.
Am I close to Ander at this moment? Can I lean into him?
You are seated, sort of. If you imagine the throne's up on a platform, you, Kirik, and Bothrid are sort of seated in something of a semicircle around the edge of the platform where the throne is.
I will be as discreet as I can then, if depending on how close I am. I will turn to Ander. It certainly would be a good idea for us to continue to be able to power the magic of this city, but maybe we're using an overpowered device here, so maybe in offer of a replacement that will still do the job. It may be far overpowered.
What do you intend to do with it when you mine it?
We can use the stone to further research and power magical capabilities. You have seen the city of Idril, the floating towers. There are mechanisms like this we can construct.
Okay.
Perhaps trade with the wider kingdom.
Okay, my counter offer was going to be something along those lines. So, firstly, we need to determine if that is powering these rooms. If it is, you need to make sure you can mine it without jeopardizing that. And anything you learn from that, or any benefits you gain, you must share with the rest of Nyland so it benefits more than Idril. It needs to benefit everyone. I'm talking about the Twin Cities, Edicus, Mantineer, Eastvale, Escalion when it gets rebuilt.
You speak as if Idril will be a state within the kingdom, governed by the king. Is this your will?
I was thinking you would have a little bit of autonomy to govern yourself, and you as Prime Arcanum would answer to me, but you would be, I suppose, the leader of your state that you would warden yourself, yes.
If this is to be the case, then I have one additional ask.
Okay.
Each year, a festival of sorts, a gathering will be held within this city, where all of those with magical talent will be brought and tested, and those deemed worthy will return to Idril with us to continue the circle.
As long as that festival doesn't become some weird magical grooming cult, then yes, that's fine. As long as people who are deemed worthy are doing it by choice and not by force, that's fine. Have as many magical orgies as you want.
Then we are agreed.
It sounds a very good proposition, as with King Ander bringing everyone on, attempting and hopefully succeeding to bring everyone under one banner. That you will be able to gain your you will be able to find all of those magical people throughout the land and not just in the local area. So it will help everyone. A good cause, I believe.
I have said I agree.
Remley's then going to sort of looks at Annabelle, looks at yourself, Ander, and looks at Ethereal.
Well, I guess that's item number one done then.
I don't know what fucking accent I'm doing there, but
Do you need this in writing? Do I need to put my stamp in some wax? Is a verbal agreement amongst witnesses okay, or do you want it on paper?
Given the nature of the spell cast here, I am willing to take a verbal agreement until your seal is prepared, and then a formal writ will suffice.
Aye, well, I'll be dealing with that. If that is all, Master Ethereal, we'll move on. Ethereal and Deimos are going to sort of take a step back. Ethereal bows, and then Deimos is going to step forward. Forgive me, Prime Arcanum, but I went through death for this shit, right? Let's be real.
Feel free to speak freely, Deimos.
You're gonna need a court mage. Gladly offer my services. If you be fucking having it.
Is it customary to have a court mage? Is it okay? Considering the magical power, I mean, we wield between us, why do I need you?
It's a good one. Now, don't get me wrong, but no one here is a learned mage. All gifted.
Or Cockney. No, none of us are Cockneys, no. Learned mage. Okay. Yeah. True.
Forgive me, Ander, we don't even know how the walls work.
This is a fair point. So what you're saying is, you would be kind of our envoy from Idril.
I think
You would answer to me.
Saying is, I'll be the mage of Esamer and hold station in your court. And I can be your liaison to Prime Arcanum here, as and when they have business. But ultimately, my loyalty will sit with you.
And can I look to Kirik on that bit to make sure... Have you cast Stone of Truth yet?
Yeah, that's just true.
I have, yeah. So I would know.
Okay,
It's,
so
it's a
he's
charisma
telling the
saving
truth.
throw, and I know whether people succeed or fail.
Yep. So far, both of the people that have popped up and spoken have both drastically fucking failed.
Which means... Is he telling the
They are
truth?
both they are both unable to lie. Yeah.
Awesome, okay. I think you've sold it to me, Deimos. As long as you don't follow in your brother's footsteps and keep on the right side of the path, I welcome you.
Arif was always a bit of a dick. Buddy
You
helped
said
us
it.
take out Zappany the first time.
Yes, he was with his faults, but he did do a great deed to start off with.
Well, we're done with that now, so if it's alright with you, Ethereal, I'm gonna forge a new path. And you can see Ethereal's slightly annoyed at this, losing a
Shocker.
student.
Oh, fear not, Ethereal. At least he's not trying to take your place.
And at least you haven't lost one to death this
could
time. Oh. Shouldn't have said that, should I?
I am finished.
And Ethereal's going to turn. And he looks briefly at Remley, and you can see his eyes focus in on that plate of symbol of a silver dragon.
Done.
Let's hope mine and the Rush Strike unlocks him a sense of humour, eh?
And so he'll continue. And you hear sort of a brief tittering amongst the crowd as you say this, and people starting to loosen up a little bit and sort of... That was a good one, yeah.
Deimos, you'll have to later just tell us if there's any connection between what your brother did and what Zapanir may or may not have done with a section of her soul. For a later discussion, I'm sure.
Well, I can reveal some things about that, absolutely.
Oh.
I guess, Ethereal, you never really told him what she was. No, but there is still time. My business here is done. I will see myself out.
And he does, just marches out. And Annabelle is just going to lean into you and maybe a little bit more tact with the future ones. He's agreed.
We have this barter. It's part of our friendship. It's the usual. Oh, Ethereal, before you go, I forgot to tell you. When you go back to Idril, it is with the title of Warden of Idril. I suppose you could be your own state. There's other places in the east that you won't want a warden, so yeah. And is the Prime Arcanum thing a democracy situation, or do you have to take the power?
It is
Just want to make sure we've got no...
It is something of a voted system, but usually the most powerful takes the mantle.
Well, as long as there's no tyranny or brutish, I don't want you keeping it through horrible means. And as long as there's a nice way that you've got it and people accept you as their leader.
When somebody can show me they have mastered more than I will step down.
Oh, challenge accepted, Deimos. Okay. Thank you. You may leave.
I've washed my hands of it now, I'm afraid. I'm Mage of Esamer. It's... Well, I cannot stand for Prime Arcanum if I am loyal to the king, so to speak.
Yeah, it's always good to stay out of politics.
I'd rather just...
He says,
do
sitting on a
studies, to
throne.
be honest.
I say Dargon at this point, little piece of paper and a scribe underneath. No, it's not true. But just writes, dummies for those who want to learn tact. Send to Ander and Ethereal. Cool.
Tact for dummies.
Tact for dummies.
Well, if that one's resolved, let's sorry, Kirik, yes.
I was just gonna ask if beforehand, before all this happened, before people started arriving, and before I even cast Zone of Truth.
Yes.
Now has to work out if it's a concentration conflict.
It is not. It is not. I would like to, just because of previous experiences with people getting gathered around in our history, and then people being not what they seemed. I'm going to just close my eyes and grab onto my holy symbol, and when I open my eyes back up, my iris has not my iris, the black bit of the eye. I can't remember what that's
Pupil.
called.
Pupil.
The pupil. That has changed shape, and it's now shapes of of a raven wing or of raven feather. As I'm going to cast
Nice.
True Seeing on myself and gain
Amazing.
True Sight.
You're seeing the
which means
is it the ether plane?
I'm seeing into the ethereal plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
you
having
got
I'm tripping
fish
balls
going
right now.
past you and everything.
Yeah. But I can also see through illusions.
You can.
So while he was off stream, you were definitely just taking mushrooms, weren't you?
Pretty much. Just been sat there communing with the Raven Queen on acid, and to the point now, because you can see into the ethereal plane now. It is a trippy experience. It's not the astral plane, so we don't need to worry about spirits or ghosts or anything like that. But
It is not
it's
the astral
the
plane.
ethereal plane. So excellent. So that's
Quite imagine
freaking a
if you could see
few
dead
people
people.
out that are close. Who are
It's
sat
really
close to sort of
fun.
Kirik, and you can hear a few whispers like, "Look at his eyes. His eyes are really weird. It's creepy as fuck. Just sit, be quiet, don't say anything." Remley is then going to sort of continue.
Right then, next on the list. Captain Charlie Swift, past captain of the Winter's Tale. Do step forward.
And Charlie
Give me
will
the pass,
stand and step forward, and she's going to take off her captain's hat, and she's going to give a great, graceful bow. My king. Congratulations.
My captain, what can I do for you?
Well, we've been on a journey, and in your name, I suppose, I've lost men. I've lost 2 ships now.
Yeah.
And we've lost a home. So my ask is simple, because we have no desire to leave you in this fight alone. When it's done, I want to ship fucking chat.
It's nice when somebody else derails Matt.
I just need to turn the chat off and stop paying attention to it. So, she's just going to stand there and say, when this is done, first thing, I want a ship. And that's the least I can ask for.
Sold.
Secondly, this is going to be a key trading point. And given we're on a lake, out to the open seas, you're going to need a trading vessel. And perhaps a trading master.
Okay. Do you know what?
My
I was
crew
actually
and I are
thinking
yours.
of asking you if you wanted to head up my naval fleet, but if you want to go down the trade route, that's fine. If you want to lead trade ships, and
No. Let's circle back. Head of a fleet.
Yeah, I think you've earned that. You've lost 2 ships, so you might as well gain 10.
Might I interject and possibly leader of the merchant navy?
There we go. There's a title.
I'm sold.
Commodore
Crew,
Swift.
are we all game for this? Carstan's gonna stand up. I've forgotten Carstan's accent. Just totally went out my head.
He's Welsh.
No, he's not.
He's Jamaican.
And the valleys.
Don't do a Jamaican accent.
There we go. Well, you can let me have your guns, right? Merchant Navy. I'm assuming they'll be.
Big guns.
I'm in.
Yeah. But you have now pointed out we do need trading vessels and a trade leader, so maybe you could help me find a replacement for the job you originally thought of.
I have one. And it's long overdue. And she's going to turn and look at Brallan. You've fought by my side for a very long time now. You need to be more than a first mate. So if I am to be the leader of the Navy, I can think of no better individual to lead your trade fleet. And Brallan's gonna literally stand and... There's emotions on his face, not so much as tears, but the look of utmost respect for Captain Swift right now. And he is just gonna sort of place his hand over his heart and bow. It's been an honour, and continues to be an honour. I will greatly accept this gift if it is your desire, my king.
Of course, Captain Brallan and Admiral Swift. Thank you for that, Stick.
Captain Brallan and Admiral Swift. Make notes. Get them some fucking...
Admiral Swift does sound like you're trying to sell me car insurance, though.
10% off on both cars.
Multi-boat discount.
Well, now you've got a navy and a trading fleet, at least you're going to get multi-insurance. Multi-fleet insurance.
I suppose your first task will actually be assembling a fleet, considering we've got a couple of rowboats and a canoe at the minute.
We'll get right on that. Maybe, let's deal with what we've got to deal with. We can build the fleet up after that. But I'm thinking if they've got floating towers, let's have some floating ships. Maybe some business.
If we can have some more
Brelin,
sky
maybe
ships, that would be absolutely brilliant.
Well, I'm definitely in.
I may have. Well, I seem to recall we may have fronted your second ship in terms of coin.
You also destroyed said second ship.
Oh yeah. I'm well aware of that. It's more to the point of, do we need to? Does the King's Purse need to front the start of the rebuilding of the Admiral's ship afloat?
Oh, do you know what I didn't think of? I've let him mine the raft strike for free. But if anybody else wants to mine it, that's something we can sell. That's a commodity that we own. But I'm thinking.
I don't really suggest crossing that bridge like that. We can have a conversation with Fury.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll worry about funding it at a later date. To be fair, we've got plenty of forests to start building if Lena and the Fae let us use their trees, obviously. But then in the Black City, we might. I was going to say plunder, but that's the wrong term because we're not those kind of people. Free some jewels from their possession. We don't know.
Well, there's always a dragon's hoard that was not that well plundered, from what I understand.
There we go.
I'll
start off the King's Purse.
I'll send some mages down there to start pulling the coin out and bringing it back.
Thank you, Deimos.
Alright.
Proved your worth already.
Fucking mage gonna collect some coin. Fantastic.
Are we talking about the grave of Zapanir, or the fact that she took over the What's It Pass?
The What's It Pass?
Well,
next to Quaver Bridge? Talk about crisps here. Anybody not in the UK, they're brands of crisps.
Very well done, sir. Very well done. Deimos is just going to chime up and say, well, Ixalian, when I poke my head in, is still full of golden ice, and I imagine if she's dead, for now,
She won't
that
be
ice
needing
is going to
it.
melt, and she's not going to need it.
Great idea.
You killed her. That seems like public purse to me.
Sounds
Your
very good.
treasury.
Keep an eye out. There were some awful werebears
Ander.
around there before.
Oh, well, they were all cleared out now. And given you're now building a treasury, and he's going to look at Annabelle, I'm assuming you'll agree, you might need a master of coin, or similar.
That's true.
I'm not volunteering, I'm shit with maths, don't give it me.
I mean, it could be one of the burdens that the Battle Master is happy to take on, because I am, after all, rather brilliant with gold.
No, Dargon, because you overpay for everything. You are not allowed to touch my money.
Maybe
Annabelle,
one to
would you be
decide
happy to
later.
Okay. Throw up some
Let's
names
discuss
for me,
that.
Annabelle. Yeah, we'll discuss it.
Absolutely.
Feel free to put yourself on the
Absolutely.
list if you want to.
Um,
Definitely not
Remley,
Dargon.
do continue.
Alright. Who's up next?
Aye. Queen, it says here. Queen Lena Merifir of River's End. A field, you mean? I should say, in the language of the elves. Please do step forward. And Lena will step forward with Micaiah, sort of hand in hand, resting atop each other. Micaiah will bow, and Lena's going to curtsy to a fellow monarch. I don't ask for much, to be totally honest, Ander. You've already done me a great service twice, and you know the third that I ask of you, and that is to unseat my father. As you have already alluded to, I ask one thing, and that is the Twin Cities, which I will take control of, remain an independent South.
So, I agree. We need to understand that he is not worthy to rule over a dinner table, let alone a whole city. The Twin Towers are yours as soon as we can make it so. But what you're saying is you want to remain a kingdom separate to my kingdom.
Maybe not a kingdom, as I
Queendom.
appreciate the situation that you're in and the situation that Nyland's in, and who knows what's going to happen whenever you do whatever you're going to do. You and I know the history of this land, at least, probably more than most people here, but we would like autonomy to govern ourselves and rule ourselves, whether that's separate to the kingdom or as part of your overall kingdom, empire, whatever you want to call it. I am willing to negotiate.
My offer is, I suppose, similar to that of what I granted Ethereal, in that you can govern and you'll have autonomy in your state or your province, your area, and you would be the leader of that until a time it's passed on, or you vote, or a new leader is voted in. But I suppose you would still be included in the overall kingdom of Nylin. So I would still be your king, but yes, you would have that autonomy. So unfortunately, that would mean losing the title of queen per se. You could choose any title that befits your station.
Well, the queen thing's relatively new. It's always been Lady Lena. I am willing to be the authority in the Twin Cities. And as that authority in the Twin Cities, I will make Micaiah my Ranger General, as she has been for some time. But her army and her forces will be yours when you call your banners. I'm more in your debt than you are in mine, and I don't dispute that. So I know I have very little to ask, or very little standing to say much, but you grant me the 2 cities and my father's head, you can count on our support.
I grant them to you happily and willingly. Write that down, Rimley. That's locked in.
Fucking hell. Aye. Right, that's in. Queen, Lady Lena of the Twin Cities. Right, more. Get me some more ink.
And as we were talking about trade routes earlier via the sea, I was hoping yours would be probably a good trade route through Nylin, through the south of Nylin, but also, when we come onto it, with the Fae, maybe. I know we've had our troubles in the past, but I want to keep that border between your world and theirs an open border with free trade.
You might want to hold off on that one. I think the Fae will represent themselves.
It's a thought we can discuss, Lady Lena.
I'm happy to act as an ambassador for you, and that's passage. But Orphaliad is its own place. I will let them speak for themselves.
Right, well, I think with that we may as well bring up the Lord Eladrin of Valiad. I'm sorry, sir, we didn't get your name. Nor will you, not for now. Names in my land are precious. We have offered more than most, 3 times over.
And I'm eternally grateful.
We have one ask. A very simple ask. You have plans, I believe, to return Nylin to wherever it came from. And in doing so, that will inevitably close certain doors. We will leave a small entourage here, and we will open a new gate to the Feywild. Perhaps this will be in Feliad, or... well, I think the old kingdom of Feliad will probably return, the elven city that it once was. Whether people choose to reclaim it is something else, whether you choose to reclaim it is something else. But the kingdom that I hold in the Feywild, we will want an entrance and an exit, a gateway to interact with the material plane. And those who wander will wander. You know what lies in the Feywild, and I will not belittle that, not make light of it. But we are done hiding in the Feywild. We would like to venture forth and... well, as long as you are happy for the risk of the Feywild to be open and all nature of those creatures to potentially wander free, we will help govern the border alongside Lady Lena, as she has always done, and her rangers, and we just simply wish the gate to remain.
I think, as we said with Lady Lena, she can guard the gate, help border the gate on one side. You can help border the gate on the other side. But I also know somebody who could be perfect for guarding such gates as he walks the horizon. A ranger friend of mine. So I feel it's okay to have a gate, because I want an open relationship between this world and yours. And if we do rebuild the Elven City in Feliad, then obviously they can help with the border patrol. But yes, I do want it to be an open border.
Maybe we
and I know.
Maybe we make that our agreement then. You rebuild the Elven City of Feliad as it, however it will appear once you close said gates, and we reopen a gate within that city. And that will be a free zone for Fey and folk alike to interact.
I take it that the rifts throughout Nylin, including the one to the Fey, have caused as much disruption on your end as ours.
Disruption, I'd argue you three have caused more disruption than most. We have had the odd person that stumbled in, and well, we tried to guard as much as possible and ward people off with fairy stories.
I think we have a deal.
That is all from me. I'm happy if you're happy. We will, of course, be a totally separate nation. We always have been.
Yes, that's fine. I expected nothing less. I just want there to be a fruitful relationship between our two nations. I do want to look at Kirik, because I know how tricky the Fae are, and I don't know whether Zone of Truth works on them, so I'll just give him the eye to see if he gives me the nod.
that's a good point. Well, they might be pretty good on that charisma save.
Yeah,
They're
just a
not.
little bit. Whee! Matt's rolling like a chump.
I am absolutely wrong like a twat. So it's fine.
Happy days. This is going better than I thought.
Kiri gives you the nod.
Right. Representative from Green Flower. One Callum.
Callum?
No last name. Callum. No
Grella.
last name. No, Callum. It says Callum.
Oh, is that the little boy? Well, we killed his...
And a boy of 12 years old stands up
Yeah.
Oh, God.
and sheepishly sort of steps forward and bows.
Grellan told me I had to be polite. But well, Greenflower was the first place to fall to, well, wherever's following you. So Grellan and me and the other villagers, we want a home, and we want to go home, but well, it needs purifying, and he looks at a piece of parchment. The dead need to rest, so we ask that somebody puts them to rest and allows us home and helps us rebuild. And yeah,
I would be honoured to help you rebuild your home, and I have actually somebody in mind who would take great pleasure in putting them to rest and sanctifying Greenflower once again.
I have my own ask, if that's okay. I lost everything. I don't want to go back.
What would you like, Callum?
I want to find my place. I want to study and learn and decide what I want to be.
Okay.
I don't want to
so
be a farmer.
You've got some options there actually open to you. You could become a ward of myself, and I could teach you, and I could find you bardic tutors if you wanted to learn that sort of thing, or Dargon.
I'm not
take you
very
under his
musical.
wing okay, you could Dargon could take you under his wing, and you could learn fighting, battle tactics, and eventually become a guard, a battlemaster yourself. Or if you wanted to learn magic, you could go to Idril, I suppose, or any of the magical colleges and universities. Or if you want to go down religious learning, Kirit could set you on the right path with the Raven Queen. Or alternatively, if you wanted to discover another religion, we've got plenty of contacts if you wanted to go down the religious route.
I think I want to go with them. And he looks towards the King of Faliad.
Okay. That is, feel free to ask them. I can't decide for them to take you. They must agree. I mean, alternatively, if you wanted to, because I was thinking of asking Grellan to help after Greenflower is done, rebuild the Elven City. With him being a guarder of veils and gates so much, I was going to ask him to then see if he wouldn't mind stewarding the Elven City of Faliad. But then again, he seems pretty attached to Greenflower, so he might not want to. But did you want to live in Faliad when it's established, and then you can go between the Feywild and this place, or it's up to you if you want to ask the Lord of the Fey.
Can I come to the Feywild with you, mister? And or something calls me there. I think.
It sounds fun. And the king of Aliad, or the Eladrin Lord, is just going to sort of look down at Callum and... Well, if it's what the boy wishes, then we'll take him, I guess. I'll have to work, though, boy. If you want to forge your own path, you forge your own path. We're not a charity. I will, mister, I will. I will. Thank you. And he's going to bow, and Remley's just there at this moment, like, what the fuck do I write down for that? Fucking.
And if you ever need a friend in the Feywild, look for the Summer, go to the Summer Grove, and tell them I sent you.
Summer Grove and King Ander sent me. I will. Thank you, my Lord, King, Your Majesty, Liege, you.
We will ensure that we get a message to Grelin, if you can't, and we will ensure him that we will rid Greenflower of the ill that is there. I can't.
I'm just imagining Kirik's there with like a necrotic flame just in his hand, like, yeah, I'll fuck him up for you, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Just stretching, like.
Pretty.
Okay.
Yeah. Very much.
Can't say it'll be immediate, but it's certainly of high priority. Kirik, by any chance, do we think that by ridding the Greenflower of their infestation, it might actually weaken the enemies?
It's difficult to say without us knowing a little bit more about who or what created the infestation. Wasn't able to find that out.
Then perhaps that is something we need to table sooner rather than later, and after the discussions of today.
Well, yes, at least would make us focus all our attention to the west without being concerned about what might be coming over the water.
Yeah. Thank you, Callum.
Thank you, Callum.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing the man who will come.
If that's... Thank you. If that's settled, got a few minor ones here. And Remley then goes down a list of just sort of smaller asks, like a couple of villages, like we'd like some farmland, and we don't want to live inside the city. Can we have some land beyond this, and various little things Oprah. That
you get a farm, and you get a farm.
Yeah. But you start to
like
sort
Ned,
of form
Ned
agreements and get support. Yeah, or Ned Stark. Yeah. And then Remley sort of comes to the bottom of his list. Aye, we've got one last name. The Dryads of the Grove.
Oh, hello.
Oh boy.
And the Lord of Faliad is going to stand, Lena's going to stand, and they are both going to take out from their pockets what looks like small glowing seeds, and they're going to clasp hands and crush these seeds together and then take a step back as the crushed fragments of these seeds land on the floor. And a small sapling just instantly appears. And 4 figures appear. An older female dryad with white hair, white skin, and looking rather waifish and wispy steps forward. A young, almost childlike dryad with skin of green and lightish greens, and then a more middle-aged sort of dryad based on humanoid standards in oranges, reds and sort of brown steps forward, and then a familiar figure appears as well. Not green this time, but golden. As the summer dryad steps forward. in the full reverence of life. And they all speak as one in this
Do I recognise any of the
bizarre
other ones?
voice. Make me a history check, please. And I'm going to say, given your fake connection, add your proficiency bonus on top of it.
Because I'm thinking, like, is the old woman the person I need to visit every year for my vaccine booster? And is the childlike one the one who took my name? That's what I'm worried about. Oh, I rolled a 1, never mind. 10.
I was going to say, so that's a 10 plus your proficiency bonus.
Ooh. 16 then.
15? 16.
16.
You don't recognise them as such, but you can sort of get a guise based on what you know of the Summer Dryad and the Dryad of the Summer Grove, that there is a representative of spring, summer, autumn and winter here. The 4 seasons, the life cycle, if you like. And they all speak in a single harmonious voice, if you like. We, the Dryads of the Grove, ask one thing for the gifts we have bestowed. A seed be planted in this city, so that all will remember us, and so the king may visit and forge his connection continually, renew his gift, and remember those who looked after him in his formative years.
This is the easiest request all day. I will never forget you, but this will help me stay connected to you and help future generations remember what you have done for me and for everyone. And to help future generations forge bonds with you as well.
The mark of the Fae and the Dryads will forever lay upon Esamer. This is all we ask. And then 3 of them step back, and the golden figure stands there and looks upon you. And there's a slight hint of sadness, but then a smile. And in your mind you hear, "You have achieved all I knew you could, and more. But there is more to come. There is one other who wishes to speak to you. And I must apologize for the subterfuge."
Nah, shit.
The whole throne room goes dark,
Dargon stands up,
and there are
sword out.
screams. Even with the sword out and the armour on, this hall is dark.
I'm still ready.
And you sense a presence to the right-hand side of your throne, in between where you and Mirabelle sit. And you can almost feel this figure leaning against the throne. And somehow, even in this pitch darkness, you can see the outline. The muscled
It's a sexy
torso
shadow.
and it is sexy shadow man. The leather trousers, the boots, the flowing black hair, the colour of the night sky itself. Well, this seems boring.
No need to panic, folks. Dagon, sword down.
Make me a
Once-
perception
There
check,
is no-
please.
There is no threat. Me.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh no, I've pressed performance, ignore that. Oh, it was a 20 and all. Bastard. Oh, an 18's alright, 30.
Everybody else is statue still, or at least you can't sense any movement.
Oh, everyone's frozen.
Yes, well, it's a gift every now and again. Look, these little dryads have made their claim and asked for what they ask for. But my queens had some say in that. After all, let's not forget who gave you the gifts originally. How else do you think you sneak through the darkness and turn yourself invisible? Wasn't the Sealy Court, a court of light. That is my gift. Don't forget us, Ander. All these people of their bright colours and treetop elevations and buildings and their radiance. There's only one in here with any sort of real interest, and that's the one who walks in death. Things are fascinating, but we have our own desires. Do not forget the Unseelie Court. Do not forget her. She does not forget so easily. And after all, she does have your name.
So, do you want anything specific? Or just an open line of communication?
We will ask. And you will answer.
For this open line of communication, could I have your name?
I will give you one of my names. I am known as the Queen's Darkness.
That's a cop-out. We can all get by our
You say
wrestling
that.
names.
You say that, but to speak that name is to invoke my very power.
Oh, okay. Is that what powers this cloak then? The Queen's Darkness.
It is. And I suppose there is more to be had. So in return for keeping this line of communication open and permitting both courts to have a say, I may have one final gift for you, King Ander of Esamer. But you have to agree to it first.
I agree to give both courts equal say at the table.
Excellent. She will be pleased. Well, on with this boring show, I guess. Time starts again. And for the rest of you, there's been this moment of darkness and then light again. In the space of about 1, maybe 2 seconds. As there's a muffled scream from somewhere, and the dryads are gone. But the sapling remains. And you notice hanging from the sapling is a single black leaf, which flutters in some sort of magical wind and then detaches and flies and floats through the air towards you, Ander, where it lands sort of atop your head and just slides down the back of your neck. And then you feel an itch. And there is
I get a lot of itches, don't I?
billow. You do get a lot of itches. There is a billow as your cloak becomes a portent of the night sky. Whereas previously it was just like the colour underneath. Now it is almost just this window into the night itself. And I will add that to your inventory soon.
Ooh, giggly.
Right, well, what the fuck was that? Anybody want to
Alarm
try
not.
and hazard a guess?
Fear not, Dagon.
I'm not
The shadowy
Dagon,
man
that's
paid
Dagon.
me a visit. No, I'm not talking to you, Remley. Just write down what I'm saying.
Fucking hell, I'm writing down shit.
So, the shadow man paid me another visit. He froze you all in time so he could just speak to me. So, we're not in danger. Nothing bad has happened. But he wanted, as the Dryads wanted an open line of communication with us, his request, which I granted, was that both the Sealy Court and the Unsealy Court have an equal voice at my table, which I'm happy to do. I'll take counsel from anyone.
Kirik.
Doesn't mean I necessarily have to listen to what they say.
Kirik, roll me an insight check, please.
Oh, if he's fed me a yarn here, hasn't he?
Oh, wow. Natural 1 and natural 2, so that's 14.
Great. You realise that somebody else has entered your spell and left, but you have no idea whether what they have said is true or false or whatever.
So
Remley is going to chime up
essentially,
at this point and sort of carry on.
I think this tree may serve as a way for the Unsealy Court and the Sealy Court to come and go or transverse with us. It's worthy to hear all voices, even ones you may not disagree with, or enemies' voices. So I've agreed to it, and in exchange he granted me another gift, as you can see by my cloak. But he granted me his name, so which I will not share at the moment because it harnesses great power, but I will show you later.
That's very, very interesting. Might I suggest, if this is to be an envoy for the Fae, I guess, then we move it to the Fae Embassy. We can do so with care, but I don't think it being in the throne room where you conduct business is...
It can't be grown in the middle here now, because they can't be coming in willy-nilly. I might be indecently exposed in this throne room.
And Mirabelle blushes very brightly.
Don't need an insight check for that.
There's me thinking that darkness was just them making a fancy exit. But thank you for being honest about your discussion there.
I couldn't not be, could I?
True.
You can make a charisma save if you want to. But I can't.
Also, what the people are seeing is me being an open and honest king. I'm building trust.
Aye, well, on that note, that does conclude court for today. So, thank you all. Thank you, my king. I don't know, Annabelle, what do you want to do now?
And Annabelle's just going to sort of stand and whispers to you, and stand up.
Can I play exit music?
Well, I think you need to make some sort of decree first. What you've said here is so the law of the king, the order, I don't know, whatever you want to say.
Okay. So I'll stand up. Thank you for your time today, and for hearing me, and for me to hear you. Everything I've done today is set in stone. By order of the king! And then I'll bow to
By
everyone.
order of the king is literally responded and echoed around the hall.
Aye, by order of the fucking king.
Remley's going to fold up the scroll, shove it in her pocket somewhere.
By your leave, my lord.
Could you
Annabelle.
do me a favour? If I give you a crude drawing of my family sigil, could you do some metalwork and make it into a sigil I can then stamp on decrees?
Yeah, you want your royal seal? We can do that.
Yeah. Good man.
Aye. Let's discuss later. I suggest you exit stage left, so to speak.
I'll take
Annabelle is going to sort of...
lead her out.
And you walk ahead, and then Annabelle's just going to sort of kick Dargon's chair. Get up.
Pardon me.
Kirik, you too.
I'm gonna.
And as Kirik stands, Bothrid sort of shoots up. Up, me too. Up, shit. And like you all exit out. As you then hear sort of Remley turn around and say, "Right, well, if you could all just leave in an orderly manner, we'll get the writs written and all the orders done, and everybody go get a drink for fuck's sake."
I'm here for Master of Ceremonies, Renly.
It's going to officiate my wedding.
As this city, or what makes up this city, leave and you all turn around, Mirabelle in your head, Ander is just going to say, "Well done. I think that was the easy bit." Given what I overheard.
That was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Given what I overheard last night, this next discussion is going to be harder. I'll leave you and the boys to it.
Obviously, I won't hide anything from you, but I have got to worry about being discreet. Because
maybe not on the keep stairs. That's probably not the best place to have these discussions. But I'll leave you to it. Just remember that you need all the help you can get. She's going to kiss you on the cheek, and as she kisses you, the words "I love you" just ring out in your head. And I think, given we are at the 3-hour mark, and I suspect that conversation with Theogodin is going to be a fairly big one, we will save that for our 2-year anniversary, which I think is very apt as well, given that the person who started this whole journey is now going to mark the 2-year anniversary with us. So thank you all for soldiering on with us there. That was an amazing episode. Well done, folks. Lots of RP. The king has set some orders out. There we go. So yes, don't forget to join us on Saturday for the live stream. Samara and I will be having a lot of fun, hopefully, on the 24-hour. I don't know what we're actually calling it, Samara. You're gonna have to correct me on that one. But the sort of charity live stream.
24-hour stream, yeah.
And yeah, 24-hour stream. I will tell you the title of the one shot though, which is Malt and Magic: Deeds and Omens. So look forward to that one. Saturday night, 3 p.m. On the Place Bedford stream. As I say, we will be hosting that on our own channel as well, so you can check it out here. And then join us next Monday for the 2-year anniversary, where we will reveal our competition, our giveaway winners. Of course, there will be 3 of you, so 2 pieces of art up for grabs and a t-shirt. And yeah, the art, as we said last week, done by the very amazing Stick in the chat, so thank you once again, Stick. It's amazing, we love it. You can catch those previews on social media if you want to go look at them now, just to see what you could win. But don't forget the rules. You have to be a follower or a subscriber to get at least 1 ticket in the bucket, 5 tickets if you're a subscriber, and then for every week you're present in the chat, you get an extra ticket as well. So next week is the last chance to get any tickets in the pot whatsoever, and then when we get to the break next week, we will tot all of them up, and we'll make some announcements just after the break, I think. So thank you all for joining us once again. I very much loved that episode, on a little bit of a come down after the fight, and a bit of RP, but the king is definitely in place now, so we will leave you on that note. Long live the king. We have been the Malt and Magic crew. I and Samara will see you on Saturday night, but the rest of us will see you next Monday. Stay safe.